introduce them. Just on my left is the Superintendent of Police, Bernard Katwalo. Bernard Katwalo is a liaison officer with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. He's a police liaison, but falls under the police's Mineral Protection Unit. Just next to Ndugu Katwalo is Mr. David Sebagala. Can just wave. David Sebagala is a senior inspector of mines, the Department of Mines in the Ministry of Minerals, Energy. So the two officers with me are coming here because, can you put your thing right? Because we have something to share in respect to our operations as government, but also as the police's mineral unit. Now, incidentally, let me also introduce a very, very key person in our midst. He's the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Caesar. Caesar Tsingwire is the commandant of the Police Mineral Protection Unit. Caesar, you are welcome. So I have a team with me in that area. They will give you information about their operations and other. Let me not get and other things. Let me not get the cat out of the bag. Not forgetting to introduce my colleague, ASP Luke Wesigire. Wesigire is always accompanying me in the struggle to communicate to public every Monday. Luke, as usual, you're welcome. So let me begin with my communication. Then thereafter, I will call upon Caesar, not so? Yes, then Caesar will conduct the flow of information in your group from the Minerals Department. The issues I would like to give or share with the public today, as you are all aware, children began their second term holidays. A number of schools have broken off, and whenever they break off, as the police, we take the duty to ensure that we communicate to the communities on a number of issues. One, there are offenses which we observe start cropping up at an incidence or at a rate higher than normal. Two, there are a number of negligent acts. So there are a number of accidents that become prone because of the students entering into holidays. So you realize that whenever students are getting their holidays, we communicate. Whenever they are going or beginning terms, we again communicate. Some of this information, why we share it, is because we have evidence that these things occur. They occur. Now, like for instance, one of the prevalent observations we have made is about sexual abuse perpetuated against children. Because some of the children are coming out of the custody of schools now are coming back to the communities. And when you visit police in our Child and Family Protection Unit, you will discover that we start registering cases of child abuse, especially of sexual nature. Some of them you find they occur from, they start from trading centers. Some of these children are sent to go and buy home items, salt, soap, and some of them are females. You find a girl of around 16, 17 being exposed to village goons who spend most of their time at trading centers. Some of these children are sent at awkward hours. You find a 15-year-old girl has been sent to the shop at 9 p.m. What ends up is a police case of defilement. So it is the duty of the police on one side to punish the offenders, but it is also our responsibility to tell you upfront before some of these things occur. The other issue, which is usually very common, is corporal punishment. When the children retreat into the homes, then the beatings also take another tide. And we have time and again warned the parents, because some of these videos you will be seeing people sharing them of brutal parents, brutal guardians, brutal adults, where brutality is being meted on children or juveniles. People have failed to come to terms with the law that says that corporal punishment is prohibited. Now we register these cases. Of course, we get a lot of challenges, because you find that the victim and the suspect are highly emotionally attached. So when we detain the victim, when we detain the suspect, it has a direct bearing on the victim. When you arrest a breadwinner in a home because of violence against one of the members, one of the challenges we have always encountered at police is that as you unpack the case, you find the challenges that now the breadwinner is under custody. And you find that now the family is extensively under pressure to see how the breadwinner gets out of that hook. But anyway, as a law enforcement body, we can't run away from this responsibility of communicating. Don't beat these children. Find other means and methods through which you can communicate discipline. The other issue we have observed as law enforcement bodies, or the law enforcement body, is the labor exploitation and harmful employment. The law, of course, prohibits employing or engaging children in activities that are harmful to their health. Now you find children during holidays being exposed to harmful employment. You find them working in hazardous environments, which is also not good. You find some working in garages and highly exposed to garage hazardous material, oils, what. There are those you find a child exposed to heights. You find a child is not only a porter on a site, but is given tasks which involve climbing very high heights. There are also a few incidents where you find they are engaged in activities like digging of deep wells, and you know the risks associated with that. Now, why am I communicating? At the end of that day, should a child become a victim in aspects which reflect negligence, we shall not only condemn the child for that engagement, we shall go for the adult who lured or led the child into that act or business. So I think you understand the reason why we communicate some of these things. Now this one is common, and you have brought it before on these press briefings. The one of exploiting children in pornographic performances, commonly known as ebimansulo. Now they have come out of school. Some of them, you will be seeing them in nude acts. Because bimansulos, some of these bars are still operating them. Now the worst is again now where the kimansulo is being performed by a juvenile. Now the adults in such situations risk being taken on, and with a firm hand. We have another challenge which some of our children face. They get exposed and drawn into rogue village groups. They are lumpen proletariats on trading centers. As you are aware, I've been communicating about crime. Some of these criminals use children. Now, like in robberies, house breakings, burglaries, especially burglaries and house breakings, they use children to pass through points which adults cannot. I think most of you have heard of a situation where thieves use children to drop into the house and then open the house from inside. Now, how do they get access to these children? You find that these children are exposed. They target them from trading centers when you send them to go and buy things. And this is common with unorganized settlements, some of them like slums. So these groups are in there. They recruit them. They at times also use them as sources of information. The other time I told you about housemaids. Housemaids are usually volunteers, unconscious volunteers of information. When they want to know whether the household head is around, is on safari, they always go for gullible members of the home. These members of the home volunteer information unconsciously. And when these fellows get hold of this information, they use it to attack these homes. They know when you are not in, they know when you come back, they know when to waylay you as you come back. They can even have a good picture of some of the valuable assets you have in a house or in the household, courtesy of some of these members of your home. And those are usually children and maids. Of course, not leaving out other dependents. So we feel it is very, very necessary to share with you that information. We also want to share the following as well about children as they return to neighborhoods from school. We have observed the incidents where children are abused. It can be a defilement. It can be harm from a neighbor. Now you find the parent determining whether the case should proceed or not. Let me make it clear to the parents out there. When a child is defiled, it is not within the spaces and the freedoms of parents to determine whether the matter should be withdrawn. You know of that thing of omuzadde mumufunireyo akantu omusanga agujeyo. We as police, we have been registering those tendencies, but we want to communicate that that is not acceptable. If it is an offense against a child, the offense must be followed logically up to its conclusion. So some of these things we feel we should share. Now finally, about children, is that at times when you are aware as adults, the children remain in the home. Whereas as police, we have observed that even within adult populations, very few people have police contacts. Now it becomes worse when children also don't have them. All households, all persons who are capable of communicating need to have the conscience that when there is an accident, when there is a problem, the person or the people to reach are police and the local councils. So that information, our numbers are always on our platforms. They can always be followed. When you go to all our platforms, the numbers are there, emergency numbers. But you can also walk to the nearest police station and even acclimatize with them. Then we have a number 999, which can be called at no cost, and you will always get in touch with police. But it is also your duty to walk to the LOC chairperson, acclimatize yourself with him. So that is what I would like to communicate in respect to our children who are coming back to our homes as they enjoy their holidays. Lastly is the issue of Chan 2024 updates. As you are aware, we have reached some climax of sorts. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the committees, especially the security committees or subcommittee, which sits and always reviews security in respect to the football tournament that is going on. First and foremost, they thank the fans for their cooperation. I have, on their behalf, communicated a number of security protocols, which to a very good extent have been followed. We have not got resentment about them, and all those security protocols I communicated before still stand. One of the things which I was asked to communicate and to remind you using our platforms is about the ticketing issues, how they are all sold out. Of course, the local organizing committee has communicated about it, but as security, we are also interested because one of the observations we made is there are people who have tried to sell fake tickets or duplicates, and some have not survived it. We nabbed 12, and they are facing music with us. Now, we do not want you to fall victim by thinking that you can buy any ticket other than online. If you go into the portals and you find the tickets are over, go and get to the nearest screen and watch this match. But do not be convinced that by any magic or trick you will enter Nambole without an online ticket. It will be an embarrassment on your side because we shall not allow you in there. And if you try to use those tricks, then we shall keep you in safe custody. Then the other issue I would like to encourage is that the match which is there today between Uganda and South Africa certainly is going to attract large crowds. So as a security measure, you are advised to come early. Gates this time round are going to open by 1500 hours, or locally known as 3 p.m. So you can come early so that we do not have stampedes. And also coming early enables you, in case there are glitches, probably things are not okay with your ticket, there is enough leg room to have remedial interventions to correct what has not gone well. A reminder, come light as possible. Like I warned the other time, don't come with huge bags. Why would you come with a suitcase to a football match? You leave it somewhere. If you have been staying in Kampala watching this, leave it in your lodge or somewhere else. Come like a real fan. You come and create inconveniences, you end up in very inconveniencing security checks. Vehicles. Only VIPs and VVIP fans, who usually even have the benefit of stickers, are usually allowed access to the venue precincts. So when you come without these privileges, you end up with that embarrassment. You come, as security, we have tried our level best, and we are still going to do it up to the last match that will be played on Ugandan soil. We are going to provide security. At least we have really tried our level best. We've not got breaches. We have tried as much as possible to contain the usual crowd-associated crimes and breaches. So we call upon members of society, crowds, to come, follow these rules and protocols, and enjoy the match. Of course, I will not hide my interest. I wish Uganda Cranes success in this one. And the other time when I mentioned it, they won. So most likely every time I talk about the Cranes success, we register victory. Thank you very much. So I'm going to give the Luganda version on these issues. Tubalamusiza mwena abali eyo. Twagala kubasiima olwa n'okusinga kansoke nsiime abanamawulire abatuwa omukisa guno okwogerako n'abantu eyo kubanga ly'ekkubo lye tuyitamu okutuukirira abantu. Nga bwe mumanyi, nja kusooka ne ishu y'abaana abakomyewo okuva ku ssomero. Bwe bava mu masomero ne bafuna holidays, of course badda waka. Kati nga ffe poliisi tuyina ebintu ebimu bye tutera okulaba nga tuba twagala tubituuseeko abantu eyo gye bali mu maka gaabwe, so that tugezeeko okutangira obumenyi bw'amateeka obutuukibwa ku baana. kati nga nja kusooka n'ekintu ekyokusobya ku baana, sexual abuse, nti ojja kusanga nti buli baana bwe babeera mu holidays bafuna okusoomozebwa nti bakagwa ensonyi bwe batekinga advantage, kubanga abaana bano abasinga baba bavudde mu bisulo naye kati baba bali waka, mubatuma ku maduuka, bagenda mu zikyaki okusaba. So mu ngeri eyo n'osanga nti bwe budde buno bw'osanga nti bakagwa ensonyi bano bwe batekinga advantage. Waliwo n'abaana abasobezebwako betwaliise ba guardians, abantu abali badde balabirira abaana ate n'osanga nti be basobya ku baana. Ki kye twogera wano? Abazadde muteekemuuko amaanyi, mutunuulire abaana bano. Abaana bano oluusi bw'oyogera nabo obujulizi buno obufuna. Abaana babasindika ne babatwala mu byalo, eyo mu byalo eyo ogenda okuwira nti omwana bamusobyako. Abamusobyako oluusi either abantu abakulu ababeera mu famire eyo, because omujje wano mu nucleus family, omutute mu famire y'abantu abangi, uncle ate muganda wa uncle wa uncle, those type of relationships, osanga nti abaana bali exposed to abantu abatabayinaako bwagazi bulungi. Then oluusi basobezebwako ne olaba kati Uganda tuyina ebikoosi bya gavubuka agabeera ku trading center. Trading centers ezo zibaako oluusi abantu abakyamu babeera awo bakuba matatu, balinze omuntu abaana ngaabo. So oluusi abaana ne bafuna challenges ezo. Mubatumye ku dduuka sawa 3 za kiro, otumye omwana w'obuwala w'emyaka 15 omutumye ku dduuka sawa 3 ez'ekiro, oluusi mukudda agwa mu mutego gwa gana agavubuka agabeera ku byalo. Then issue endala gye tuyina y'ey'okkuba abaana. Ndoza obutambi mwe mwennyini mwabadde babusindikanga mbulaba. Abantu abakulu nga bakuba abaana mu ngeri etiisa. Abaana buli bwe bakomawo ewaka wabeerawo conflicts ezitandika wakati waabwe n'abantu abakulu. Naye twagala okutegeeza abantu gye bali eyo nti okukuba kw'abaana mu Luzungu especially kwe tuyita corporal punishment, edda abaana babayisangamu embooko, naye kati olina okukkiriza nti etteeka lyakyuka era tetwagala tukukwate otandike kutuwa excuse nti ffe kuvadde abaana bakubibwa, afande ffe nze mbadde sikimanyi nti sikirizibwa kuba mwana wange. Naye leka tugoberere etteeka, wanga naffe poliisi bwe tuba tukwata naffe tuba tugoberera tteeka eryo lyennyini, era totandika tetuwoleza kirala kyonna. Etteeka lyetteeka. Then waliwo n'okukozesa abaana mu mirimu egitasaanidde. Nosanga omwana nga ali nga mu garage naye nga ali exposed to bigrease oils biki. Waliwo emirimu egimu nga si mirungi. Waliwo bw'osanga omwana ng'aweereza ku site naye nga bamuwa olusi alinye kalina ya mitendera 6, omwana ali eri waggulu. So n'amala afuna accident, ebibuuzo byetukubuuza oyinza okulemwa okubiddamu. Nosanga omwana ng'asima toyi oba bino ebinnya by'amazzi. So waliwo emirimu egimu gye walirabye nti mugirekere abantu abakulu, abaana mugibajjeemu. Then kino issue endala gye tutera okulabula, abazadde mugezeeko nnyo okuteeka eriiso ku baana. Abaana these days abamu babayingiza mu bimansulo. Nosanga omwana nga ndoze ekimansulo mukimanyi naye ekimansulo nosanga nga omwana ali mu bbaala ate nga aperforming ekimansulo, era netumala tukwatako nga nanyini bbaala oba aba organizinze ekivulo ekyo, tukubonereza ng'amateeka bwe googera. Waliwo n'ekirala maybe kyenjagala okusharinga nammwe nti bw'oba studyinga crime patterns z'oku byalo byaffe, ebigurupu ebitera okutigomya amaka gaffe ebisinga bisentalinga ku trading centers. Ebivubuka byolaba ebyo biba bizanya matatu, so bimanyi okurukurutinga abaana baffe. Kati nosanga era ndoza abantu abasinga ndoza mwali mukiwuliddeko, nosanga nga bakozesa omwana omuto okugwa mu nju. Kati omwana omuto waliwo emitayimbwa gyasobola okuyitamu nagulawo enju, nga gwe omuntu omukulu omutwe teguyitamu. So nosanga abaana babakozesa mu kumenya amayumba. Byebyo emisango gy'owulira nga baloopye ku polisi bagamba naye tewaliwo we bamenya, bayingira buyingizi, kyeka bayita mu ddinisa. Amadinisa ago oluusi baba bakozeseza abaana abato, naye abo abaana abato oluusi baba barikurutinze mu ngeri ezo ze tuba twogerako. So ng'omuzadde olina okumakinga sure nti oteekawo eriiso ery'amaanyi okulaba nti omwana wo tagenda nnyo mu bikoosi ebyo ebisobola okumuyingiza mu misango egy'ekikula ng'ekyo. Waliwo ne issue endala gye twagala okusharinga nga police izi abaana bwe bamala okubasobyako oba okubazaako emisango, waliwo ekintu kye tusinza okulaba ennaku zino. Abazadde baagala nnyo okujja bo banegotiating oba bayingire mu ntegereganya ne basuspects. Sometimes guba na musango gwa defilement, nosanga ng'omuzadde agamba ye bamuweeyo kasente omusango agugyeyo, ate ng'omuzadde tebamusobyako. Bwe baba basobya ku mwana, gwe basobya batya ku muntu omulala, then gwe nooba nga ye gwagyeyo omusango. Kulwaki tojjaayo omusango gwe bakusobezaako? So ekyo ekintu nakyo tekikirizibwa, naye baade bagezanga oluusi batuula eyo ne bakimale nga tebanaana kutuuka ku poliisi. Naye bwe tukigwako surely abantu abo bonna ababa bakyetabizaamu bamenye mateeka. Otherwise then ekisembayo ku baana tukyabakubiriza nnyo making sure nti abazadde n'abaana mufune enamba zaffe za poliisi zibeera ku mitimbagano gyaffe, so that wabaawo accident yonna olusi abaana tebakufunye naye baba basobola okufuna poliisi bwe banga obalekedde essimu awaka, especially abaana abakuzeekuzeemuuko. Mubayigirize nti wetaaga ewaka okubeera n'ennamba ya LC n'ennamba ya poliisi. Tusanze okusoomozebwa kungi era buli ntera okukiddamu wano. Nosanga omuntu asooka n'akubira omupoliisi w'amanyi nga mukwano gwe, wosanga ti maybe ali Arua naye ng'ekizibu kiri Kasubi, then owa Arua naye alina kuddamu ate naye n'akubira abapoliisi abali e Kasubi, then abakasubi ne bakomawo. So nosanga nti empuliziganya eyitamu eba mu circles, and wegenda okufunira obuyambi nga n'obuyambi olusi tokyabwetaaga, either ng'obulabe babukutuusizaako, bwe guba muliro ng'olwedde ebintu bimaze okujja. So ebintu ng'ebyo. Ekisembayo nja kwogera ku emipiira egigenda maaso egya CHAN. CHAN nga bwe mumanyi ekutte wansi ne waggulu. Leero tulina omupiira gwa Uganda ne South Africa, nti nga bwe mumanyi team organizers batera okutuula okugezaako kuwayawayamu ebintu bitambula bitya, security etambula etya, wa tubawa security emala oba. So far bagala okutuusaako okusiima kwabwe population ya Uganda ey'abawagizi ababadde bagenda okuwagiranga emipiira so far yeeyisiza bulungi. Era ekyo kyo twagala kubasiima. Tetufunye kusoomozebwa kungi. Buli kawaayiro ke tugezaako communicating akaba kavudde mu CHAN abantu bakagoberera. Naffe feedback ze tubadde tufuna tuzitwala mu bakungu abo aba CHAN n'aba local organizing committee. Era ndoza mbadde mulaba ebintu ebimu bazze bakyusakyusaamu. Naye nga bumanyi ku mukolo tewabulako musiiwuufu abajingirira tickets nabo bakyaliyo. Era kyova olaba tuyinayo 12 betwakwatayo ebikwataganye negezaako okuzanya obukujukuju mu bintu bya ticketing. Era abo tubayina, naye kyetwagala okusaba guno omupiira ogenda okubaawo tumanyira gujja kuleeta abantu bangi. Mugezeeko genda mu budde, gates bazigulawo ssaawa 9 leero. Then temujja n'amamotoka unless ng'oli VIP oba oli VVIP ate nga bakuwadde ne sticker. Then n'ebirala bye twadde twogerako of course ye issue ya okujja nga tositudde bintu bingi keesi biki jangu nga oyina jangu nga bwoli so that tetuddamu omuntu najja ne suitcase namba tutandika okwaza swala ebintu ng'ebyo tuba tetubyagala ku kisaawe. Naye otherwise amateeka amalala gonna ge twayogerako gakyali nga bwe twagogerako. Otherwise twagala okubasiima naye ate n'okwagaza cranes obuwanguzi. Ekyo tetujja kyekweka. Cranes tugisabira leero eyitemu. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Those are questions this time round kandeke abakulu bajje, then ndoza mujja kubuuza questions omulundi gumu. I can be around and wait. Not so? Yeah. Oh, unless you want to ask her right now and okay. Yes. Yes, please. Okay. Oh.
Yes, I understand some children might be beautiful or handsome for content, but their acts which are not good. So who is responsible for the child? Is it the government? Is it the parent? Who is in charge of taking care of the child? In such cases where children are being used for content, some are even asked to abuse others. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Jude Rediwana was.
Yes, Jude.
Apparently, in addition to the questions and guidelines given to parents concerning children who are coming back for holiday, we have seen a case which was issued by Senior Superintendent of Police Patrick Onyango, where a school was illegally confining some children who have not yet cleared fees and were stopping them from going for holiday. What warning and caution do you have to head teachers and owners of schools?
Okay.
Secondly, we are seeing flyers which are moving and some messages from the business community, that is Kampala City Traders Association, and they are organizing for a demonstration tomorrow. They are closing shops, others are saying they are going to open, others are saying no. So what caution and message do you have to such people, sir?
Okay. Yes.
When
Oh. Okay. Okay, lastly. Akamyufu. Akamyufu yagala nkogereko ki? Kubanga kaaliwo. Hey. Okay. 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 Okay, let me answer this. My colleague has raised an issue about phone exposure to children, and she asks a question that who is responsible for children, and especially when they are engaged in content creation. First and foremost, a child it is the responsibility of the parent to take charge of a child, to ensure the child is good health, to ensure that child is education, and the matters related to the welfare of the child generally. Now, a child is custodial protection always shifts in accordance with the situations and environments. When a child is taken to school, in a boarding school, the custody of that child shifts from a parent and goes into the hands of the school. So at every one given time, there must be somebody out there who has a duty to look after the child on both issues of safety, security, and welfare. So if it is at home, let's assume the child is at home. The parent is responsible. Now, children get exposed to phones. First and foremost, you need to understand that a phone today has become a medium of communication, but also an asset for entertainment. The phone has become both an asset and also a liability to society. Whereas you think actually it is only the child whom we should be talking about, even adults. That's why you see, because of a phone, there are adults who are in prison. So the phone is a problem, besides being an asset. It's also a problem to adults, and so can be children. When it is used by a child, it can either be used and it undermines the child, it interferes with the moral fiber of the child, especially when they access it and go into material that is graphic, material that exposes them or erodes their morals, pornography. Surely the child becomes exposed and it becomes a danger to the child. Now, should the child use the phone to offend other members of public? Like, for example, you talked about abusing. The laws are there. We have laws which govern the use of electronic gadgets, and we know how to connect, as law enforcers, the child to the phone and ultimately to the owner of the phone. When a child uses your electronic gadget to commit an offense, there's a likelihood that you, the parent, will be brought into the triangle of the offense. You will at some point find yourself being brought. It is just like the way if a child drove a car and caused an accident, there would be the child who has committed the offense. Now, the laws which govern how the children are treated when they come into contact with crime is there. That is the Children's Act. We treat them, for example, when they are below 16, when they are below 12, when they are a child of 17. Criminal liability shifts in accordance with the law, and also the law is meted out but to make sure that it does not again injure the child. That's why sometimes you find them ending up in what do you call them? We receive them as law enforcement bodies. Sometimes the children also can be subjected to the law, but there are procedures we follow when we are taking them on.
So it's not a crime for a parent to place a phone in front of the child for content, so long as they do not harm him.
First and foremost, you are not supposed to expose the child to content material. Like, for example, you cannot easily use a child for content that undermines the decency of the child, the innocence of the child. The law is broad and speaks wide about it. Like, for instance, you may not use a child for an advertisement if that like, for example, you can't use a child to advertise for beer. You get the point? Because that's content. But children feature in other advertisement. A child can feature in an advertisement of shoes, Blue Band. You get it? Colgate. So all that, but I don't want to go into all that, those details. But the long and short of it is that a child can only be used in content commensurate and measurable within what society expects of that child and in accordance with the law. Two, that a child, if is exposed to equipment and he or she uses that equipment to offend other members of the public, it becomes a negligent act on the side of the person who should have kept that item out of reach of a child. That's another broad aspect. Three is that a child is always in custody of one person or another, depending on the environment. It can be a home, it can be a school, and any other environment. It can be an entertainment place. That's why when you get a child and you take him or her to a recreation ground, the receiver must know that he is having clients of a particular vulnerable age. Those are the broad points. The other issue which was asked, I think that was by Jude, was about the school that illegally confined children, and that what message do I have to school owners? There was that incident. I may not have all the facts offhand, but I think it occurred in Nsanji. Yes. In Nsanji, a head of a school found it, in his own wisdom, found it necessary to confine, I think there were 2 children, that because they had not completed school fees. So you can imagine such a custodian of children. So as police, we got that information and we apprehended him. Actually, there were 2. I don't know whether KMP you have that information. There were 2 who were apprehended, and their file was processed. I think their file is complete, but they were put on police bond. The children were rescued. Still, like we said, we give advice. If a person has come into your school at a pay, that's a contract. There is a contractual obligation. Now, when an individual breaches a contract, you do not confine that person. And this one applies not only to schools. In any contractual situations, we have, in my experience as an operation officer, I've received cases before where you find somebody goes to do work at somebody's place. Let's say civil works. And somehow they disagree, and the man locks the fellow in his gate. Musibideyo paka bwana. No, you cannot. We have an offense we call unlawful confinement. You are not allowed to confine a person. First and foremost, you do not have cells. So you cannot convert yourself into a detention center. You can't gazette your home into a detention center. It's unlawful. So that's what the headmaster virtually did. And he ended up, the law decided to turn upside down before he realized he was the suspect. So that is exactly what we want to communicate. If the children have failed to pay fees, there is a manner in which you can handle their courts, their laws, which can resolve that conflict or that stalemate. But not to convert your home, your school, or your premise into a detention center. So I think I've answered you on that. You also asked about Kasita and how they are organizing a demonstration. Yes, it is true. Some traders under Kasita are uncomfortable. And there are flyers which popped out saying that tomorrow they may not work. What I would like to say is that particularly on behalf of Uganda Police Force, we have managed to engage them. And there are ongoing discussions so that we see how to resolve these discomforts without necessarily disrupting trade order. Conflicts are normal. The most important thing is how do we resolve conflicts, especially using non-antagonistic approaches. And so I would like to mention that we are in contact, and we have high hopes that we can shed it off without necessarily going antagonistic. Another one asked about the Chan suspects. Incidentally, I did not come with the names, so you'll forgive me for that. But you take it from me that we had to inconvenience 12 individuals who attempted to do things outside the law, especially in relation to forgeries and uttering fake tickets. Yes. My sister asked about the Kamyufuka NRM. Then he said, Emivuyo Amasasi. Yes, the Kamyufu, she means the primaries. The primaries of NRM are going on. I am not the NRM spokesperson, so I may not speak for how the Kamyufu are going on. But from the security's perspective, we are providing security, not only for primaries, but for the general elections. And the general as security, yes, everybody is aware that election activities come with some kind of pressures. There's heated contest in all areas of the current political activities. But we try as much as possible to ensure that when laws are broken, we intervene. When there are even those where we don't need to make arrests, we need to cool down tempers We have had a number of engagements of political protagonists, but we shall do our utmost to ensure that we secure both primaries and the elections, the general elections. Maybe even what to add that I may not have said, there is even going to be a delegates conference. I don't know whether Kananura has come. There will certainly be some traffic, high concentration of traffic around the Kololo areas, I think from 20th. So you may register 1 or 2 inconveniences. So we beg, when we do cutoffs and the diversions, you bear with us. Yes. Naye kambe mbufunze tugezeko. Munange yabuuziza ku kintu kya masimu n'abaana. Amasimu n'agamba nti amasimu abaana bagakozesa nga content. Amasimu gafuuse ensonga. Naye si nsonga ku baana bokka, n'abantu abakulu bagakozesa nga content. Oluusi ne bagakozesa bubi ne bavuma abantu. Oluusi abaana bagakozesa ne bagendayo ne balaba ebintu bye bali badde tebalaba ng'ebyobuseegu naki. So amasimu malungi bwe gaba nga gampuliziganya, naye social media eyina content oluusi etali nnungi nnyo. Kati nga kye tugamba nti amasimu gano, omwana bw'akozesa essimu bubi ne baloopa ebintu okusinziira ku bintu ebibadde ku simu eyo, tugira nannyini simu ng'amateeka bwe googera. Then n'omwana mulina okumanya nti n'omwana naye ayina engeri emisango naye bwe gisobola omukwatamu depending one ku myaka n'obugumu bw'omusango nga bw'aba abuzizza. Maybe just mu bufunze okubabuulira nti abaana tulina engeri gye tubakwatamu mu mateeka etali ya bulijjo. Okulaba nti tetwenoonera mwana ate abaana tubakwasisa amateeka nga tugezaako okubazimba. It's more correctional than punitive. Then omwana bw'akozesa essimu okutyobola eddembe ly'abantu abalala, oyinza okwesanga gwe nannyini essimu naawe lukutwaliddemu. Then n'abuuza nti ani avunaanyizibwa ku baana? Omwana avunaanyizibwa ku muntu aba amuyinako obuvunaanyizibwa ku ddakiika eyo. Ayinza okuba omuzadde omwana bw'abeera ewaka. Liyinza kuba ssomero bw'aba nga omwana ali mu ssomero oba ng'alinga mu kisulo. Eyinza okuba ekifo ekisanyukirwamu bw'eba nga omwana bamututte nga mu recreation area mwasanyukira. Kubanga enkya wajja kujja omuntu agambe wagamba nti omwana omuzadde yamuvunaanyizibwako, so mu swimming pool muno mwagudde. Muzadde ya nedda, omwana abeera mu mikono gy'abakulu buli kadakiika. So ekyo kyo mukimanye. Ekyokubiri, Mwami Judy yabuuzizza ku waliwo ekyessomero eryakwata abaana ne libagalira nti kubanga baali balemeddwa okusasula school fees. School fees bw'ojja okusomera mu ssomero ly'omuntu owa kye bayita private investor oba private school, yes, kyateeka nti bw'ebanga olina okusasula, naye ate bw'oba olemeddwa okusasula tebakukwata ne bakufuula musibe. So tekyali mu mateeka eryo essomero, I think eryo essomero liri Nsangi, where headmaster yakwata abaana n'abagalira mu kwegamba essomero n'alifuula ekkomera. So era twamuvunaana kubanga mu mateeka gaffe tulina kye tuyita unlawful confinement. Omuntu yenna bw'okwata omusibe etteeka likulagira wa olina okumutwala. So ono ye essomero lye yataaninga into ekomera era fayiro y'endooza leero ejja okuba ng'etwalibwa ewa state tulabe endala tulabe emisango nga bwe ginaatambula era bwe twogerera bali ku bond police bond naye ekyo ye message gye tulina okuwa n'abantu abalala bonna tuzze tulaba emisango egyo abazimbi bamakanika nosanga omuntu ng'akutte makanika n'amusibira ewuwe n'akwata plamba n'amusibira nti kubanga mu kulaba kwe makanika yamubbye okubbibwa yes naye bw'oba toyina bukukaanya n'omuntu aba amenye omusango muleete mutwale mu mikono gy'amateeka so kye tuba tusaba ekyo waliwo abuuziza ku kya kasiita nti enkya baagala okwetaba mu demonstration yes abakasiita yes twalabyeko obu flyers obwo naye kyetwagala ogamba tuli mu kwogerezeganya tulabe engeri gye tukwasaamu ekintu ekyo tujja gezaako okulaba nti tugonjoola ensonga zaabwe from the security perspective n'ebitongole ebirala ebya gavumenti nabyo nga bwe bibagezaako okwogerezeganya nabo naye nga tetugenze mu issues za demonstration ate okugala kubanga nabyo bikosa abantu mu ngeri emu oba endala. Waliwo asabye amannya gaabo be twakwata mu bya Chan abakola okujingirira ne wali jase mujja kunsonyiwamu size na mannya ago naye gwe mumanye nti abantu 12 abagezaako okukola ebintu ebitali mu mateeka twabanyweza era tubayina maybe bayinza okuba oba nga bali ku bond naye what I know is that 12 people were arrested. Waliwo abuuza ku kamyufu ka NRM gamba amasasi emivuyo kamyufu ka NRM katambula ebirala ebisinga NRM ebadde ejja nga ekibiina ne kibyogerako naye nga security kye tugamba is tuwa security oba obukuumi mu abafuzi ab'ebyobufuzi bonna nga bwe baba gisabye n'okumakinga sure nti obululu butambula bulungi nga obukuumi weebuli. Yes, obululu bulimu okusomozebwa kungi ebikonde muba mubiraba naye nga elections zonna bwe muzimanyi elections si kintu kyangu usually mubaamu ebbugumu lingi naye tusuubira mu maaso bijja kutambula bulungi. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala. Kankozese omukisa guno njite Assistant Commissioner of Police Siza Tusingwire Siza ajja kubayisa mu issues ezikwatagana ne ebyokusima obugaga bw'omutaka n'ebirala byonna omukugu kuva mu ministry Ndugu David you will give our public good information. There is a lot of good information they are ready to share with you. Ndugu Siza, the chair, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tusingwire Julia Caesar. I'm Assistant Commissioner of Police, and I head the Police Minerals Protection Unit, PMPU, as the Commandant. What is PMPU, or Police Minerals Protection Unit? PMPU was established on 7th August 2017 by the police leadership by then, to be responsible for planning, policy formulation, supervision, and monitoring of mineral security for sustainable utilization and exploitation for the benefit of the country. It is a unit under the Directorate of Operations of UPF. You know, we have a number of directorates, so PMPU is under Directorate of Operations, and it is the enforcement body for the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, specifically the Department of Mines. So we are supervised by both police and the ministry. The ministry is Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, but the Department of Mines. And that's why Mr. Semagala is here to join me for this press statement. We operate in zones, and apparently we have 8 zones, and we cover all parts of Uganda. Wherever there are mining activities, Mineral Police is there to regulate. So we are in 8 zones. And the 8 zones are Central covers districts in Central, and the headquarters for this zone, you'll find PMPU in Kasanda in the gold mines. That's where the headquarters is, but overseeing a number of districts. The other zone is Karamoja. Karamoja, you'll find the headquarters in Moroto, but supervising, monitoring, and regulating all mining activities in Karamoja. In fact, Karamoja, all the districts, you'll find mining activities. It's highly mineralized, Karamoja region. Then we have Metropolitan Zone. Metropolitan Zone is basically Kampala, what you call Kampala Nemirirano. That is also a metropolitan, and we are established in Kampala, city here. Eastern Zone, the zonal commander sits in Busia, overseeing mining in Busia, Namaingo, Bujiri, Mayuge, all those places we have activities of mining ranging from exploration, survey, and many others. Chigezi is also a zone for PMPU, and the base is in Kabale. We have Ankole. The zonal commander is in Ntungamo. That's where they sit. West Nile in Arua, because of the trade in minerals there and mining. In Yumbe, in Nebi, all these places, there are mining activities. Lastly, we have Rwenzori. Rwenzori, you know that region is also mineralized. In those mountains of Rwenzori, and our zonal headquarters is in Kasese. All these zones are commanded by gazetted officers who are called the zonal commanders. zonal commanders, and below them we have detaches. PMPU is majorly a field or operational unit. That's why we are under Directorate of Operations. We are in the field carrying out operations, but also investigation. We manage cases, so we also carry out investigation of crime from the mine sector. We don't work alone. In the regulation of the mine sector, we don't work alone. We work with all stakeholders and agencies that support the mines. For example, security agencies, we work with the intelligence, that is ISO, the ESO. We work with the government bodies that support investment and trade, and also supporting investors. For example, State House Investors Protection Unit. We work together and closely with the Office of Kano Nakalema. We work with the State House and Corruption Unit. We work with UPDF. For example, in areas like Karamoja, they support us to jointly police that area because of the security challenges. We work with the NEMA. Mining goes with a lot of environmental effect or degradation, so you find us with the NEMA working closely. We work with the URSB documents. We work with the Bank of Uganda, we work with the Ministry of Finance. We work with local governments. Local governments, they support a lot. We work with the internal affairs, embassies, and lastly, territorial police. Yes, we are mineral police unit, but we coordinate, we carry out operations together with the territorial police, DPCs, RPCs, up to the last. We work with them, especially when we are conducting big operations. Now, I want to emphasize that even before PMP was established, the mine sector was well policed and regulated. But this unit was established specifically to attend to mine-related crime and regulations. So our officers have that specialized training that we have built over time. What's our mandate? 1, implement plans, policies, and strategies for effective security of minerals in the country. Conduct inspections, surveillance, and monitoring in order to detect and prevent illegal mining in the country. Develop and manage systems on maintenance and regulation of technical equipment and other resources for the unit. Finally, develop the human and non-human capacity of the unit to handle minerals protection in the country. This is very important. Our unit is, has built capacity for 8 years now, and we are able to give any support in relation to mining and trade. And I want to remind the public that any activity, anything to do with a mineral goes with either a license or a permit. Even carrying a stone, a small stone, a rock, the law requires that you should have at least a movement permit, as you'll hear from the officer from the ministry. Now, in regulation of the sector, we are dealing with crime associated with the mining. And we've tried to come up with a few of these crimes, the prevalent crimes, the ones we are dealing with. And the common ones, one is the smuggling of minerals. Smuggling means illegally moving minerals outside the country. This is a big offense. And majorly, it's now affecting southwestern Uganda. That is districts like Ntungamo, Isinjiro, Kisoro, where some few minerals are being smuggled to the neighboring countries. Some of these minerals are sensitive minerals, minerals used in making sensitive products. For example, we have a challenge with the smuggling of tin. Tin is found in Ntungamo and Isinjiro and the neighboring districts, but people carry it illegally to the neighboring countries. Then we also have wolfram, which is used in engines, explosives, and so many other important products being smuggled out. And even gold smuggled out, and many others. Mercury also smuggled in and out. So it is something we are dealing with, and as PMPU, we have begun operations. We launched operations in that area 2 months ago, and they are still going on. And we believe that we shall deal with this situation. But we want to caution the public that they should desist from this. Why smuggling rose up in this area was partly because of the ban on export of unprocessed ore. When there was executive order to stop export of ore, people resorted to smuggling, partly because they lacked market. We don't have smelters for some of these minerals. But of late, investors have put some of these smelters. For example, tin, there is a smelter in Mbarara. So the public, the people in that area should sell their ore there for value addition, such that they avoid being caught up in this act of smuggling. Illegal mining. This is a big problem we are also dealing with, but to a certain extent we've managed to reduce. And illegal mining is majorly affecting the mines of gold in central, Kasanda, Mubende, in eastern, and many other parts. And illegal mining is partly because of the many minerals. Uganda is mineralized. People wake up and discover gold. We have a gold rush. From nowhere, a person who was making a pit to put matoke, he finds some element of gold. He alarms, and 10,000 people descend in that place to pick the gold. which is an illegal activity, because they have found gold coming on surface. Now, we have tried, of course, with the ministry, which we support. Wherever these illegal minings are detected, we come in very fast to guide people, but also to enforce. Sometimes you have to use force to remove people and pave way for proper and legal mining. So we also appeal to people to carry out better mining practices by following the guidelines and the laws and what the authorities tell them. The other case of crimes we deal with is the robberies and thefts. Mining goes with the thefts because of what they get from underground. For example, gold, very valuable and expensive. Sometimes people who get the gold or who trade the gold are waylaid. Our unit tries to work with the mining community to put measures to make sure that they are safe, checkpoints, patrols, and escorts. And some people fall victim because they conceal, they hide, they mine illegally and don't declare to the authorities, to the supervisors. So they end up transporting this gold in unsafe measures, and then they are robbed. So we appeal also in this area that the miners and those dealing in trade should work with us. We have a serious problem of fraud or obtaining by pretense or buffere. And this is perpetuated by people illegally dealing in trade on minerals. They don't acquire licenses and defraud the people they are dealing with. No license, no documentation, they are not supervised, and they end up causing a loss to the victims. Now, I want to single out the gold trade among all these other minerals and trade in these other minerals. Allow me to say something about gold trade. And it's the biggest challenge, fraud associated with gold, because of the demand. Our observation as the Mineral Police and the ministry and generally in the country is that the demand for gold worldwide and in Uganda has increased. We see a lot of people, especially foreign nationals, having interest, others coming in here to look for gold. I remember last year, a kilo of gold was around 79,000 US dollars. But right now, I'm told it's between 100 to 120,000 US dollars. So you can see the difference. So this has made a lot of people come in here to buy gold and export Now, scammers or fraudsters have taken advantage of this. And how does it manifest? What do these scammers do to take this, take money from the victims? One, they use a lot of fake documents. They use fake documents. They communicate false stories. They get pictures from big mines in other countries in Congo and put them on their websites, creating fake companies which don't exist. They hire premises and label those premises companies, and that company, without even a license to trade in any mineral, lasts for a short time. After taking money, you go to the same place, you don't find anybody. So they use a lot of tricks. They also lure the victims. They communicate very low prices of gold, for example. They tell you a kilo of gold is 40,000. They promise to do everything for you. All you need is to send money. In fact, some victims even don't bother coming in here. Someone will stay in Dubai, in the US, send money and expect the consignment. He waits until the gold never reaches the destination. Also, they use illegal and fake refineries. Before you buy gold, you test. Most of these fraudsters use fake or tampered with gadgets, the testing machines. They open, put something, so when they are testing the fake gold, it will be reading the small piece of gold that put in the machine. When they go to test, they play tricks there in the illegal refineries, and they swap. So after testing, gold is packed. Then they tell you, you wait, we shall ship your gold. You wait months, a year, until you give up. Also, they move in so many countries. They engage you from Uganda, you go to Nairobi, you go to Burundi, you go to Dubai. So they have so many tricks they use just to confuse you, to get more money, to ask money for facilitation, money for documentation, money for transport, money for export. So at the end of the day, you pay just $200,000 for processing, for the trade, or one transaction. And so many. So we appeal also to the public in this area, especially our visitors, the foreign nationals, that those interested in trading in gold in Uganda should come and get information. Mr. Sebagala will tell us some of the bodies or government agencies that are ready to provide information and guidelines on how to trade in gold. Then we also appeal to them that if they are interested in doing business, they should acquire the necessary licenses. The fraudsters take advantage of them not being authorized to do business in Uganda and end up taking money from them. They tell them you don't have a license, you cannot acquire it because you are not a Ugandan, and it's not true. In Uganda, as long as you are interested and you follow the laws, you can do any business. So they should come, get information. We are ready. Very many offices, very many ministries, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, State House Office, all these are in place to offer any help they need. And we shall get from the official, even telling us where gold markets are, such that they don't buy on the streets, they don't buy in funny places. But as a preventive measure, Mineral Police has also come up with a cyber desk. We are working on a cyber desk to be getting these people, because they use a lot of internet to post fake communication. So if you are there, please, you'll see us at your door. You post fake license, fake everything. What have we done in addition to what I've said? Or our success in this sector as Mineral Police. In January this year, we embarked on crackdown operations in town here to look for fake refineries, fake shops. Like I told you, these people go and hire houses, hide there, and do a lot of things. So we went in Muyenga, Buziga, Lubowa, all those areas, and they closed 15 of these places and recovered so many exhibits. Some of the exhibits is what they use, the aid, what they use to commit this crime. Like I've told you, you can't buy gold without testing. You can't scam a person without presenting something like gold. So they go get mold, mud, and put a layer of, they can even put a small layer of very small content of gold, or get other metals, zinc and copper, or get ginjalia minzani. Ginjalia minzani, and put something, or get a box and seal. They say you cannot open. So all this we got them to disable, to remove gas cylinders, fake testing machine, safes, and closed these premises. We closed them. And after these operations, the scale went down. Scale went down. I read the statistics from February. And what I want to promise now is that next month, we are launching these operations again because we are seeing it had totally reduced. There's a month we had 2 cases, and now July I'm seeing we had the 10. So we are going back. They should expect us anytime. Also, for information purposes, when we closed these premises, they resorted to operating on the streets and the apartments. They call it what? Airbnb? Yes, someone gets apartment, pays rent, and use that as a refinery, as office, as well furnished. You reach their offices, you think you are the right people. Then, on the streets, they sell this gold on the streets. They scam. We've also investigated the cases. We make sure each case reported, we follow it to the dot. Every case that is reported to us, we make sure that it is investigated with the aim of recovering the money that is taken from the victims. And a lot has been achieved. If I'm to briefly take you through the statistics of the cases, from the time we began our operations, in February, 8 cases were registered, but this was previously, December I think was like 20, you can see now it's reduced to 8, and 5 suspects were arrested, and some produced to court with recoveries, including the money taken, the laptops, the boxes, smelting apparatus, weighing scale, so many. You can see here that these are the cases, the month, number of cases registered, suspects, and then what is recovered in this table. In fact, in March, we recovered the 100 million Ugandan shillings. In February, from one person who had taken money from the complainant. Then we have fake gold. Then gold itself. In May, we recovered the 2 bars of gold. 2 bars of gold. And money and vehicles. Now, some of the when they get money, they buy expensive cars, buy property. So for us, that's what we look for. We monitor your accounts, we look for what you have acquired, and through courts, we claim, we attach this money. We even block the accounts. We've recovered a lot of money by blocking the accounts because the money is still there. We can see, we are able to see. And that money, by the way, it's in most cases sent back to the victim. But also, some of these cases, the complainants choose to negotiate with the victims. We've handled several of that. They put pressure and then they say, let's sit and solve this. But still, we don't stop there. We continue to manage the case. So I'll not read every month because this is from January, but this information is available. I don't know, can I show some pictures here? Is it? Okay, okay. PRO will guide. Sorry? The suspects?
The suspects, money, and how many cases total?
The number of cases. Cases in February, we had 8 and arrested 5 suspects. In March, we had 6 cases, 4 suspects were arrested. In April, 4 cases were registered, 8 suspects arrested. In May, there were 13 cases, 21 suspects arrested. In June, there were 6 cases, 7 arrested. In July, 10 and 10 cases, 10 suspects arrested. In August, so far, we've just had 3 and 1 person arrested with gold already recovered, 4.8630 grams of gold. So the recoveries, the list is long. I cannot read everything here, but this information is available with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's now, I can now invite the official from the ministry. Uganda. Sorry. Amanya bampita Tusingwire Julia Caesar, Assistant Commissioner wa Police, Commandant wa Police Minerals Protection Unit, oba tugiyita PMPU. PMPU emaze emyaka ndowooza 8 kati, yatandika mu 2017. Leadership ya police ebiseera ebyo yasalawo ekole unit supporting mines sector. So tuli wansi wa Ministry ya Energy and Mineral Development, betuyambako enforcement. Ffe tuteeka bebateeka ebiragiro mu nkola, kati ffe tujjawo nga enforcement okubayamba. So bebakama baffe beba supervisinga. Naye nga police tuli under Directorate ya Operations. Directorate ya Operations. Tukolera mu zones tuli buli wamu mu Uganda. Lwakuba nti tubeera nnyo mu birombe, teri mu town temuba nnyo bya kusima, naye tubeera nnyo mu field. So abalombe bo batumanyi, genda Kasanda yagamba ye Mineral Police leebo. So buli Uganda wonna weetuli, teriwo jagenda nga notasanga musirikale wa Minerals Police. So tuli mu Central, Karamoja, Eastern, Kigezi, Ankole, West Nile ne Rwenzori. Kati tulina ne detaches mu bifo bino byonna, era nga tuliwo kuwa support yonna eyetaagisa. Kati tetukola ffekka, nga bwe mulabye tulina ministries eziri mu line ya minerals, ng'ogyeko ne Ministry ya Minerals, waliwo endala nga finance, waliyo internal affairs, waliyo nyingi zonna, n'ebitongole ebirala. Tukola ne State House Investors Protection Unit, kubanga abantu abamu abajja okugula oba okutradinga mu minerals za Uganda babeera ba investor, ne bajja okusima gold, abantu nga babatawaanya. So office ya State House Investors Protection Unit egoberera nnyo ensonga za abali mu investment mu minerals. So tukola nabo batuwabula ne State House and Corruption Unit, tukola ne Kisaawe CAA, tukola ne NEMA, tukola ne Bank of Uganda, local government kuva ku LC5, RDC, tukola nabo. Okay, akati omulimu gwaffe kulwanisa bumenyi bw'amateeka, naye tulina bumenyi bw'amateeka obumu obuli prevalent nga tudiringa nabo buli kiseera. So obumu ku bitutawaanya oba byetudiringa nabyo ye smuggling, okukukusa ebyobugagga okuva mu Uganda. Ate nga mumanyi nti tulina ensalo olusiziba porous. So unity yaffe ediringa nnyo ne okulwana aba smugglinga. Ate smuggling yeeyongera, president bwe yateeka ban ku kutunda okuexportinga unprocessed ore minerals nga tebataddeeko value addition. Kati awo neekola ki? Abaali batunda iron ore nga bamutwala Mombasa ne batandika mukukusa olw'okuba tebasobola mu exportinga nga tebataddeeko ki? Value. So smuggling eyo eri mu southwestern Uganda, naye twatandise ebikwekweto okugirwanisa nga tukola wamu n'ab'obuyinza n'ebitongole ebirala. Challenge endala eriwo ye okuteega abatunda ebyobugagga bino ne bababbako ebyobugagga byabwe, robberies, then illegal mining, abantu baagala kusima ebyobugagga nga tebafunye ebiwandiiko license. So nayo challenge tugiyina naddala mu gold, naye ekyomukisa mulungi ti ministry erigabye license nyingi. So ekyo nakyo kigenda kikendeera olwa license nyingi ze batandise okugaba. Kaakati obuzibu bwe tusingira ddala okuba nabo saawa eno ye ebyokusuubula mu gold ne scammers oba obufere. Tuba tumontaringa statistics zaffe, tulabye nti ba victim oba abantu ababbiddwako sente ku bakyala kimpadde bano beeyongedde mwaka guno. So mu January twatandika